is Coach Ace Reed. Ace is a nickname I picked up. My real name's Andrus, but when I started personal training, Ace is just one of the easier ones that I got through, and it works in my industry. I'm actually an athlete. I was a D1, uh, a football guy for a long time, so that's where a lot of my trains through the years. I've been training probably more than half my life, and so strength, conditioning, speed. So I was blessed to play at a high level, and we had you know Rose Bowls, BCS Bowls. It was really cool back in the day, and that's when like Cam Newton was playing in the and University of Oregon went against Auburn that year, so that was like a big year for us. So a lot of cool experiences, but that's kind of how my fitness started. When I got back, when college was done, graduated, I kind of had to make a decision, either law school or kind of figure out what I want to do. I did sports my entire life, so I didn't really have. You can only do so much with a political science degree that I had.
Yeah.
My whole family are lawyers, so it's like I either that's just kind of what I knew. But anyways, I ended up going. I did do law school for a little bit in Alabama, and I didn't like it. Didn't really enjoy it at all. So I did only like a year and a half. Dropped out, then came back home, and then hey, that's how I picked up personal training because like I feel like a lot of athletes, that's what we know. We know sports, we know training, we know the body, and so that's how I got into the fitness industry. And then I just grinded from there and kind of worked my way up. So. But yeah, fitness is a big part. Working out, fitness is a big part of my background. It's just a passion I've always had. So it goes a lot more into it, but I mean that's at least the kickoff to like from my sports background to that. That's kind of how it all started.
I can completely relate. Like, I
Yeah.
definitely didn't go the traditional route of like going to school for this, or actually, I was going to school for computer science.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
For sure.
completely opposite. And
Yeah.
then I ended up switching and diving into the physical fitness side of things.
Yeah.
Now, you ended up after you started being a personal trainer, ended up pivoting and opening up your own gyms, right?
Yeah. Actually, there's a lot more to it. So
Lay it
when
on
I
me.
so when I started fitness training, I kind of came in a little different than most trainers do. Most trainers kind of like, I'm just going to work for a corporate gym. I'm just going to, interview, and then whatever happens, happens. And you end up personal training on the floor and stuff. And, how I came in, and I did this really, really early. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I'm just like, you know what? I just want to, like, I wanted to change, like, bring in more clients for a gym. Like, so I'm like, I bet I know trainers and are really important to gyms because I believe they bring in the most clients. And if you have really good trainers, they'll bring in more clients for the gym. The gym will make more money, right? So
Hmm.
I wrote out an actual business plan. It was like 30 pages, man. I still have it today. Wrote out a business plan and I did it like old school because I mean we didn't have like AI. So I typed it all up. Yeah, I had the book laminated, all done, and I went to gyms and I'm like, I would actually go to the owners of the. I would look for the owners first. So again, crazy how now that I look back at it, it's crazy how I did that. Had no plan. I was just like, I just bet I could, I can increase, I can come in more of a partner than just a employee. And so,
Hmm.
for the first 3 or 4 gyms, I literally found the owners, and the owners would be like in a different city half the time. Like, and so I would end up finding out who the owners are. I would somehow get their phone number and meet them, call them, and I would go drive up and talk to them in person. And then I'd bring this little book with me. So it worked for like a while too. The first location, location, the first gym I worked for, the business plan. I read to the owner. He had like 4 big gym locations, right? And so he's like, "Who the hell is this cat coming in?" I'm like, "Hey man, I got this plan. I'll increase your revenue and I'll do all these things. Like I'll create better classes, better structures for your personal training. Like it's and you can check this book out. I gave him a book. Doubt he even read it, but like but what happened was like these gyms were letting me come in, and I'm talking like 24-hour type big corporate gyms. They were letting me come in as an independent trainer back in the day. Like, so I would I took full advantage of it. They would never. They don't do this anymore. They 100% wouldn't do it because it's like putting a Burger King and a McDonald's, and it's like only works for so much time. But like first location I did that to, he let me come in. I could do all the personal training. I did like a halvesy, like I would help with them. I would run their, classes, which I put together. I created classes that I thought would get better results back then. So back in the day, I take their gyms, kind of take a certain structure. I take the weights in the gyms, like literally that. Like I would just like I made it up in a way that like people liked it. And back in the day, like I used to be in the front of the gym, so I was like the fitness guy. Like I don't do this anymore, but like I would do the workout with them, like in the front of the gym. Um, so like it's funny, like that's just kind of how I used to do it. To, Now thinking about it, I'd be dead doing that back to back. But like back then, I was like working out with them in front of the classes, and then I was also doing PT. So, but I was doing my clients also, so they would give me, I could sell myself to like clients in these gyms. And the first location I went, I mean, this is entrepreneur mindset. Again, I didn't know I was just like, hey, I gotta market, right? I got a big banner, and it was like it's kind of cheesy. It was like my face on it and like my phone number. I went into the gym like 'cause it's 24 hour. I went there at night and I put it in on like the biggest wall in the gym, and like I went up there by myself and with a ladder. I put it up there, and I put the whole thing. It was huge, man. It was like the biggest banner. Um, and uh, and then I just left it up there. But the next couple days, the owner ended up coming down. He saw it. He's like, "What the heck is?" I have a picture of it. It's super funny. But I mean, again, like I was just kind of marketing in my head. He took it down. I think it lasted for like 2 weeks, and then they took it down. It was huge, man. To be fair, like I know, like I mean, who the hell is this guy? In like a 24-hour gym, you just see this huge trainer on a banner out on the wall. So, but like, dude, I was just like, I have to market. So in my head, I'm just like, I'm marketing myself. I'm gonna get as many clients as I can. Again, like, so that worked for a little bit. I did that at other gyms. Literally the exact thing. I would go to the owners. I got along with the owners really well. So like, they liked. I think not a lot of guys back then really came with like business plan. This is what I want to do, and so I was really had a lot of I was really passionate about it. So I think that's why they trusted me and they're like, cool, you can do this. So I worked for some family gyms in the area, and like again, I got along with everybody. I was really good with getting along with clients and people and owners. It's just one of those things. Like I'm doing a business within a business, and it just like it's really hard. It's hard to like maintain that for so long. But it was like I was climbing the ladder. I was like climbing my little entrepreneurial ladder. So, but every place I went to, I was kind of doing what I did with my gyms. I was like creating workouts, making it fun, kind of running it in a similar style. And so it's funny that business plan now today kind of turned into the gyms what it is. And so, anyways, worked for, but that's how I kind of like, I was already on an entrepreneurial journey. And that's, those little things I was doing back then. And I brought the same banner that I kept buying banners. They were so big. I kept putting them in these gyms. The owners would be like, what the heck? You can't, dude, what? They were really nice about it, but like, dude, they're like, you can't, that's way too big. Like, I'm talking, they were like street, like on the highway type size.
Like
Um,
billboard size.
Dude, I like it's like I see like I get it 100%. I'd get, but if I saw this like young guy coming in just like bannering up my wall, be like, yeah, we gotta probably. I'll let it stay up for a couple of weeks, but we gotta take like that, gotta take that down.
I mean,
Anyways,
there's
that's
people who
what I
get
did.
funny about having cards out on the front desk, and you're just like,
Yeah,
here's a billboard.
Bale's a billboard. I'll just take up. Can I have that wall? Is that cool? Um, yeah, like I'm proud of it now, but like it is ballsy that crap that I was doing, and I would just do it. I didn't really ask for permission all the time. I just kind of like I'm like, hey, they brought me in. They're kind of letting me do my thing, and they weren't like even like sometimes I didn't have to pay rent, right? Because I mean I'm helping them increase their value, so like you know as
Mhm.
trainers usually got to pay like $200 $300 rent a month if you're an independent contractor. But like again, luckily the way I did it, the relationships I had with these owners, they were kind of cool with me doing that. Again, now going back, they will not ever let anybody do this again because they're like Ace is the only guy we let do this. Again, that's a cool story to talk about now, but before I even opened gyms, how I fell into gyms, anyways, I got into supplement shops first. So I ran supplement stores. And so how that happened was because of working in the gym. I met some like how supplement shops will do like booths. They do like
Mhm.
little boosts, set up something, so they're giving demos of like pre-workouts, proteins, and so I just happened to talk to them while I was in there, um, and um, and it was cool. Got along. Like I didn't really know about supplements. Like we're not really taught. I don't think trainers are really taught nutrition supplement side of things. I think we're just mostly because I never. I mean, in football we didn't really. Actually, we used them, but I just didn't know what they were giving us. They give us these
Mhm.
little like pill caps. Like they just give us like a white cup, and you just kind of like, yeah. I mean,
Don't ask
again, like
questions, just take this.
yeah, it was like that. I mean, it was all the things that we needed. Like now looking back at it, it was like all the vitamins we needed, all the electrolytes we needed, like in these cups. Because it was at the we had a at U of O they give you like there's like a bar basically with like all the nutrition you need and your supplements and like so it was just like a daily. It did feel like again you're just kind of robotic. So now yeah, it's like dude, I'm just popping these. Whatever they're giving us, it's cool. It's gonna make me play football better. All right. But yeah, I didn't know anything about supplements. I ended up they offered me like a part-time job for that. And in training, like you just don't make a lot of money. So I was like, yeah, I'll take something else on. And so it was like part-time at a supplement store. And they were a franchise. They were called Complete Nutrition. And they were like out in Nebraska. And they had like I think 350 to 400 locations, and so they were pretty big. And so did I ended up working there literally from like I was personal training half the day, and then I'd go work at the shop half the day. So I learned a lot of this is like my first sales job. So I learned the sales, I learned supplements. They really train you how to pitch certain things, how to talk about them, the ingredients, which is cool. Like I got all this knowledge over there, and the people I was working with were really cool. Became my best friends. They're still my best friends today. And so, but yeah, man, I was in the supplement game for a long time, and how I took over the first supplement store was because they were selling, so franchises were trying to sell them, and so they were out in Nebraska. He's just they're trying to run it as a corporate, and there's a cut and there's a sub corporate. So basically, the main corporate owns all the franchise, and then you'll have guys that like were in the franchise. They'll buy like 20, 30 of them and just manage it as their own mini franchise, I guess, right? So under the umbrella. So this guy, his name was Eric, was selling them, and so he was just they're just trying to offload him for one reason or another. And how and what happened was that while he was trying to offload these supplement stores, I was fresh. I was probably like a year. I think I worked there about a year and a half at this point. So I've been there a little bit. But then I have managers. You have territory managers. You have like all these people above me. And so they offer it to the higher person first, right? And so they're actually offering it to the people working there, whoever's worked there longest. Like, hey, if you want to, they're trying to sell it. And so they offered it to like the manager and her name's Jessica. Again, she's one of my really good friends. And then she just ended up turning it down. So that was the end of the story. Like so it was like cool, like nothing happened. They didn't end up selling it, but after like a couple months went on and it was still for sale. I literally I do, and this is like me in kind of a nutshell. I just am like, I'm just gonna ask, like to see. Like the worst thing they're gonna say is no. Like if I'm like, hey, can I take it over? And so I wrote an email one day. It was such a super random day. I wrote an email. I'm like, hey, can I if you're interested, I'd be interested in like taking it over if you guys need anybody. And like literally a couple like 2 days later, they wrote me back. They're like, we'd be interested. Yeah, we're interested. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay. And so again, my first business, it was cool because it kind of got me in the door. Uh, if they were gonna do like an owner carry deal, so like obviously they're just trying to offload it because
Mhm.
it's a pain in their butt, trying to do it. So they're working with me. I make the payments every month. And so like again, now looking back, getting a business in general today, just fresh, is super hard to do with no history, right? And you knowing gyms too. Like you gotta have some sort of like collateral or something in the background. Like and so I kind of got really lucky because they were trying to get rid of them anyways, but getting that first supplement store, and then after I signed the papers as mine, it's like, oh, there it is. This is my first, and I ran that for like 4 or 5 years. But what we did was like I'm still coaching, right? I'm still like helping a bunch of people, um, and how I'm and what it taught me is like we did the body scans. We did like I made we call them programs. They're like supplement. You make supplements, and you'll know this too. Like there's a athletic. You make an athletic package or a weight loss package, or just the overall wellness. And so, dude, it was like I again like now looking back, like the wealth, the knowledge I got accidentally. It taught me a lot about retail. Taught me a lot about speaking with customers because I was a really quiet guy. Even though I'm a coach, I was a quiet. In football, I was quiet. I wasn't really like witty. I was really like kind of laid back, and so that's mostly how I was. That just like it gave me now the way I talk now. Like I talk a lot, right? I'm talking a ton right now. Like it's because of that job for so many years, and now getting into coaching, like I just spit it out, right? And so, but supplements I learned a ton about, and actually treating clients in a way that, I can get results. And again, I wasn't in the gym yet, so I was like, hey, here's kind of a workout plan, and then here's your supplement stack that I think you're gonna do really well. I actually sold really good supplements. The place we work for, I really would get actually good stuff. There are good supplements out there if you do it right. You just gotta, have to find the right stuff. But because I helped so many people for like 5, 6 years in that supplement store, on top of like training, my value of like, and I did it for free too, man. This is where people don't. This is where trainers don't really like. You gotta offer like if you're fresh and you're new, like you gotta like why should anybody trust you if you're not giving? You gotta give away a little bit, and that'll come back tenfold. So I did so many body scans. I did so many, I helped so many people with supplements, and they would just come in and talk with me. Like in that retail space, they would just like to come in and talk. And so like I got really good, communications with a lot of people in the area. So again, I met a lot of people, and this is just in my city, right? I got really good at knowing everybody. But so running supplement shops was kind of like my in the door, but I learned about franchising too, right? Because they were franchised. So again, I'm getting all this knowledge, stuff I would never know in a million years. The way they run a franchise is just it was cool to learn all that stuff. Having that territory manager, his name's Josh, would come down, train me. He'd like grill me on supplements, and you have to do it on the spot. You have to like know the ingredients, like you have to know like who the best client this is going to be for. Um, so it's actually like there's like boot camps for like franchising supplements and retail stores. And so that's kind of how I got into the business side of things was because of that. Because I took the leap to even ask, and I just asked, and it's funny because after that, I asked for another location. I asked for the second location. They had another one, like in a city. I think it was 2 hours away, in Eugene, where I play football and everything. I'm like, yeah, I can do this one too. Just stack it on, man. I'll take on another one. And this one was a little bit bigger. Anyways, they let me sign off on that one too, so I had two locations, and but I'm in the franchise game now. I'm kind of like doing it, and so everything else is like working out really well. Um, and so that was kind of like how that kind of kicked off. So now I got business, experience, and again, this is like 7 years now of a span. I stopped personal training obviously because it doesn't make sense at this point. And so, but now, yeah. So, anyways, it's kind of like now it's like that kicked off. Now that I'm running it, super crazy side, and this is just what happened was the franchise was like I think going bankrupt or something. And so. Uh, like they were kicking off they were kind of coming down and CEOs were changing like pretty back to back, and so uh that this was kind of like I didn't really know what I was doing with all these different owners coming in, but after a while um, they basically just they called us. They did a last phone call, and they just said that they're closing the whole franchise. And so, it was like a call from the third CEO we had. So like you can kind of see something's going on. And so again, like after that third call, um, they just said they're closing all the doors of the franchise stores. And so that was a weird experience because there was a lot of pissed off franchisees, And I was just kind of like watching everything. And again, I'm like the newer owner, so I'm just like, okay, so what does that mean? Like, what do you do after that? Like, you can keep the sign, you can keep the front, like the name, or you can switch it if you want to. It was just a weird, like, so I'm like, I didn't know what to do. But like basically, I'm not in contract with them anymore. So because when you're in contract with a franchise, I mean, you have to do certain things, right? You're kind of on lock and key. But with that call, I was like, man, I could kind of, and again, this is how my brain thinks. I'm like, I could do something different, or do something with two things together. And so I'm like, I should just open a gym and then also have a supplement shop. This is the best idea. Nobody's ever thought about this. Yeah, right. Like this is my idea only. No, um, and so. Uh, that's so what my lease was coming up, so like I could move technically, and so because I was only in like 1,000 square foot, I'm like I could do it, I could do it, and so I started looking, found a location, and I sold one of the locations up in the Eugene area, and then I basically just switched the name from the Complete Nutrition to this Ace Force, which I made up, and I'm like, I don't know, this will be cool. I just need something that's kind of like military, but I'm not a military guy, but like when I think say military, like structure, I think a structure, I think a strict. Cause I like really good coaching. I mean, you got to be a little bit strict. So I'm like, I need something that looks professional that way. And then I also like I need to still do supplements and coaching. So like Ace Force, I didn't want to use my name, but I thought Ace Force One would be cool because like Air Force One, which people still call it that, but I'm like it's Ace Force. But it means team. It means like together. It means like high. It means high level. You're gonna get really good structure, really good coaching. So, um, but name the place. Went and found my first location, man. And my first location was just like, I mean, you don't have a bunch to choose from when you're first starting. I've never set up a gym. I literally don't know why. I just in my head, I'm like, I'm just gonna do a small gym. And but I didn't know how to set one up. I didn't know any of the I didn't know like the mind bodies or Lifa. I didn't know the process CRMs I was going to use. I really don't know today like what I was thinking. In my head, I'm like, I can personal train them, and then I can also sell supplements, and like so I can get
I
best
can
of
do
both.
all of it.
Yeah, I can do best of both worlds because now I can watch them. Because when I'm at the supplement store, I don't know what they're doing. I'm like, dude, they can. I do body scans, so I'm like, they have good body scans, they have bad body scans. You know, you're getting good measurements, and you have bad measurements. Like, I don't know what you're doing though. Like, I see you every like couple of weeks, and so I'm like, this way I can like manage them. I can keep here, and so that was my idea. But it ended up morphing a lot. But that's how I started the gym. That's how I got into my first doors, um, because of my complete nutrition experience. I have that business experience in the background. I was able to a lot easier, obviously, get a different location, and I moved. I got like a 3,000 square foot for my first one. It was like an office. It was literally an old school office space in a crappy. It wasn't a crappy side of town. It was just not the side of town you would, you know, if I had a bunch of money, I would have got a nicer place. But like when you're on a budget and it's your first, you're like you got to be within reason. So I think there was like a little gambling place next door, which was crappy. So I'm just like, okay, I can make this. I'll make it work at the side of town. Yeah, but I just turned offices into a gym, man. And but yeah, the way it is today, obviously, is not how it started. I'm sure yours is the same. Like how you start, you morph, you go through these stages of morphing because you start understanding and seeing clients and start, you get better equipment, blah blah blah. You go through all that stuff. But yeah, man, that's how the gym started. It was like all this back end, and then I got into the gym space. Um, so long story. It was like super different story.
I absolutely love it though. Like
Yeah.
I love the fact that you came to every situation with just
Uh-huh.
like the end goal in mind. You're like, I'm not going to be a regular trainer. I'm going to give you a business plan and we're going to be
Yeah.
partners. Like
Yeah.
just walk up, here's my book.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. I actually
Yeah.
had almost the we were talking off air about this. We
Mm.
have a very similar story. I basically started very in the same way. I was working at Walmart, hated my
Yeah.
life, and I'm going to give a brief version of it. Started at Walmart, hated my life, ended up
Okay.
leaving Walmart and just trying to go all in on my own personal training business. And I
Hmm.
started off personal training in a gym too, like
Oh,
not
cool. Yeah.
working
Yeah.
for them, but
Yeah.
leasing. Well, the gym was being ran. by people who just weren't really there that often, all kinds of stuff. So as I was building my business, I was also like taking care of their business.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 3, 4 months goes in, and I'm making bank. Like I'm getting customer after customer. Like I'm doing really really well.
Yeah.
And then about I think 6 months in, they come to me and say, "Hey, we're closing our doors," and I was like, "Well, crap! Like I'm either gonna lose my business because every this is the only gym in town that I can train out of. There's
Gotcha.
no other gym around me, so I'm like I'm gonna lose my business, or I'm going to dive into this." Uh, so I had no money at this point. I just quit my job. I was bringing in money, but not enough to like buy a business. And the guy who the owned the building that it was all going to go back to, he was trying to sell it. He didn't want to deal with it anymore because it had gone through 3 owners at this point, and it just keeps falling back on him.
Mm.
So I don't know this guy at all, by the way, never met him, and he finally found a buyer, someone who owned a gym a couple towns over, wanted to buy this gym because it was bigger, and they were about to do the deal and everything, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take a chance. So I wrote out a 5 year business plan because at this point I knew what the gym needed, like I
Yeah.
had been running
Good.
it.
Yep.
Wrote out a 5 year business plan, and I basically somehow convinced him to meet up with me. I don't even know how I did that. It's so weird looking back at these stories because it's just
Isn't
like,
it? Yeah.
now I probably wouldn't have done any of this. Like, how did
Nope.
I do this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like threw the book in front of him. I'm like, look, I have no money. I have a 5 year business plan. I know this will work, but I have no money to give you. Like, I need a chance. And the dude took a chance on me. Like he literally he canceled the deal of selling the business and decided to let me basically lease the gym from him.
Wow.
And that's how I got the gym. My first gym was I was just I have this plan and no money. Help, please.
No
And so
way.
same thing. I was just kind of thrown into it.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with that business plan? For me, I was already in the gym. How did you
Yeah.
kind of visualize this business plan?
Um. And again, I haven't got asked that question in a long time. So I think I remember writing it. Um. So I think I'm like I didn't want to come in. I don't like, and this is kind of like how football was too. So like for me, so when I got on, and this is kind of, again, this is just a backstory. When I got on, played D1 football and everything. The only reason I even got on, like, I got a scholarship, because a lot of things happened in my life, and like I kind of fell. I was a really good player, but I went through a lot of like trials and stuff as I go. So I had one or two options. One, I could have given up on it. I literally I remember too because I was at home. I was working at a gas station, and again, I was an athlete. I was just one of those guys like, oh no, Ace is just now he just fell off. He was a good athlete in high school, blah blah, and he just fell off. So that was, and I was working at gas stations, just like most depressed. I mean, I don't mind working, but it's like that was my depressing point because I'm like, I had so much. When you believe in yourself more, you just it hurts. It hurts a little differently. You're like, man, I know I could be doing more. So, and then again, nothing wrong with pumping gas, but like for me, I just should be doing more. So it was eating at me. But anyways, like I had one or two options back then. Was like I can quit or I can like go and try one more time. I literally just drove up to U of O and went in and talked to the head coach. I literally, this is it, same thing. I just drove up. I'm like, what are they gonna say? They're gonna say no if anything. I drove up to U of O, went in the doors, went to the head coach. I really just kind of like popped in, like no calls or anything. Introduced myself. Obviously, I look like an athlete. And I'm like, hey man, I'm just up here. Can I used to play. I was a player, just fell through some stuff. And they gave me a chance, man, and I got a scholarship. But dude, I drove up in my Dodge Stratus like on a Tuesday, and then I asked, right? So kind of the same thing for like the gym world. I'm just like, I don't want to do just come in as a trainer. So I'm like, I know I think I could create a thing that like would make them more money. So I'm gonna come in with value. Like I think
Hmm.
I can. So that's how I wrote it. I just am like, hey, I still have it too. I created class. I'm like, hey, these are the best classes. I'm like, I wrote 5 classes, like one for I think moms, and I did one for I think I did one for weight loss. I named them too, which is weird. Like now that I was branding it, not knowing I was branding it, but I did like 5 different classes. I'm like, hey, run these in your gym. You'll get a lot more people that way. Run your personal training, like this. This will help your guys like build more revenue. So that's just how I was thinking. And I didn't have a personal trainer. Yeah, I had no background, man. I was using more of athletic. my athletic background, I think, and I just was creating these things that I thought would create revenue. Um, and so yeah, that's how I did mine. Yeah, it's funny you did yours because I'm like mine was about 35 pages of like my plan and everything. And now, I mean, now it turns into actually the actual gym I'm running today, which is crazy. But I didn't know. I was kind of a blind. I guess it was kind of blind faith. I'm just like, I think I could do this. You got to understand too that didn't really. They let me run workouts, but it wasn't. They weren't letting me. It was, it didn't really happen the way the business plan was supposed to be. I don't think any
Mhm.
business plan actually happens the exact way. But I think I was just creating it from my experience, from my background. Yeah, but dude, I didn't know about business. I don't know what owners were actually thinking. Like now that we're gym owners, I mean, yeah, now it's crazy to be like, if I got a kid, if I got honestly, if I got a kid that came with a business plan, put in that type of work, like kind of like you, that had 5 year plan, has all this, you know, this has really good energy, just really has speaking the right lingo. I think me and you did that, so that's why these guys who have no idea who we are, like, I mean, a little bit, but a little, like, yeah, no money, dude, no credit, no nothing, like, no collateral, like, kind of gave us that chance. Um, but anyways, that's kind of how I built mine. But again, it's just like I was just doing an athletic base, strength and conditioning, transformation stuff, right? So
I love that. And
yeah,
it fits with something I've been saying for a long time. And this is the whole journey you shared with us,
mhm,
how it's not one thing that kind of builds the bridge that gets you all
yeah,
the way to the other end of being a business owner. It's just these little bricks that you pick up along the way. It's like you learned how to train, then you learned how to sell supplements, and then you learned how to franchise, and then you opened
yep,
up a gym, and then you just keep adding these bricks until you get all the way to the other side with
yeah,
this like bridge of entrepreneurship. And it's never just one. So you finally got your own location. How
hmm
did you end up filling that location? Like, what kind of strategy did you use to try to get more people in your gym? Because I'm sure
yeah,
not having the financial backing of a franchise anymore,
yeah.
that kind of made it more
Yeah.
challenging.
And again, I didn't have a lot of money. I remember $5,000 was like that's what I could get. So $5,000 was my thing. It got me into the building. It gave me a couple months free rent, as some people will get if they get into the belt. Like you get like 2 or 3 months free rent. So I'm like, I have to get this open I'm gonna open this in like a month so I can make my money back. And so right. So I'm just like, but how I got clients was, and this is why I train and mentor. This is why I help other coaches now, kind of getting in the space. I'm like, you gotta. This is the value part I'm talking about. Like, what? Why would somebody want to come train with you versus like a Crunch Fitness or an Anytime? Like, why would they come to your gym? So it's because I worked and I did so many. I helped so many people on a free note. And again, not that you have to do free, but yeah, I helped people, made a good reputation. I help people get wins basically every day, like through supplements, right, and retail and health. And then obviously when I did PT and I'm running classes, so I had the group stuff I did really good with that. Helped a lot of people. Did some transformations, and then I got supplements again for like 7 years. I'm helping you like lose weight with like fat burners and pre workouts and like all these other things. But I'm talking with them. Like I'm getting to know them. I'm still a coach. End of the day. And so I was delivering value every single day for 7 years. And again, I don't. At the time, I was just being. I think I was just kind of like getting. I was being nice. I was like, hey, I was like, you know, trying to build good rapport. I sincerely cared about people, so it's like I do have that. I do care about people, like people in our space in the fitness and health. Like they usually come to us because they need help. I mean, they're not coming to us if they don't need us. They're not going to come see us. They're usually coming to us because they need something. So whether it's a retail shop, supplements, and something in nutrition, or it's a trainer, like as long as you like, I like helping them. So, anyways, I did that for like so long, like so many bodies, do thousands of body scans, like for free. I didn't. Some places charge for it. I'm just like, no, I'll just do it. Hey, man, you're cool. Sometimes they wouldn't even buy anything. I'd lose money, like I wouldn't even they wouldn't even buy anything. But like just trying to help people out enough, seeing them succeed and getting when they get wins, I praise them for that. And I just help. I write workout plans. I'm like, here's some nutrition tips. Like, and again, I wasn't always selling things. I was just like, I was just kind of kept helping and helping. With being that helpful though, I was able to build a business and sell because like I had trust. So trust is really big. And kind of like you, I think with our gyms in general, it's community driven, so we're community based. So you got to win the community, right? You don't want to fight them. You want to like do as much as you can for them. Not everybody's gonna like you, but you should like do your best, you know. And so, but with that, I helped so many people for so long. So when I opened the gym, I kind of had um, something already, right? So I'm like, hey guys, I'm opening a gym. It's called Ace Force. Nobody knew what the hell that was. Like, okay, cool. What's an Ace Force? I'm like, so I love when they don't. I love now that like the names, because back dude, nobody knew what the heck it was. I guess technically I didn't, but I came in with like I think I only came in with like 20 25 people. So I mean it was cool. I use Facebook a lot. So Facebook and again when we get into marketing tactics, I really tell coaches I try to use free resources at the beginning. And Facebook, dude, is like a super good resources for coaches and trainers to use for marketing themselves, man. Like, Mike, dude, flip a phone open, show the workouts you're doing, I did a gritty. I mean, back when our phones were crappy, right? I was like, it was. I would still show workouts of like what we're doing, and like every like daily almost. And so people they won't always comment, but like they'll watch it. And so people knew who I was because they're like, oh, he's a coach. He's a supplement guy now too. I'm the supplement guy. Um, and so, but I was marketing myself, like again, not really knowing I was marketing myself. I was just like, I'm just kind of showing something. I didn't know a lot. I didn't know the term marketing at the time. But I would show people what they're doing. And so the cool thing with Facebook, like your personal Facebook, not a business one, is because you have already spent years. Everybody has a Facebook today. You spent years building that, and it's usually people you've added from like maybe a little bit from college, but it's like people in your city. And what I did figure out early is like I added everybody in my city. Like I don't if I wasn't even friends with them, and I'm like, dude, I'm adding them because that could be a client. So I figured that out really, really early. So most of my people on my personal page were like just people from my city. So, but with that, people knew that I was kind of opening a gym, and I got a lot of clients from Facebook. Dude, Facebook's is still a really good one. Again, business ones are cool too, but like at the beginning, every coach should be using their personal. If they want to actually like build their own brand, every coach should use their personal Facebook, and strategically too, if you can. Like, I'm not saying like post like you're not at parties and stuff, but be like, hey, if you're a coach, post some coaching videos, put a little family stuff in there if you want, if you're cool with showing your kids and stuff. Like people like that organic, like that real. I think Facebook's really organic that way. Um, and versus like Instagram, I think the Facebook is like that's more your community. So with my Facebook, which I built out, and like I kind of did a lot of videos there, and then with my supplement and like helping things, so I was able to kind of build it. But again, I wasn't running ads. I wasn't doing, dude. I didn't know crap about anything. I didn't know anything about the business side, like because the franchise used to do all that stuff. I didn't really get into that. I'm like running ads. I probably didn't run ads for my first gym for like 2 years. It was crazy. I don't know, crazy. So a lot of it was organic. So, but I built it from 20 to obviously 50 to like again to eventually 100 through just training, man. Like organic, word of mouth. I did some free stuff on Saturdays sometimes. I still do free things just to kind of put my name out there, you know. But that's how I built it on an organic level only. So what and you know what? It's funny. I was thinking of the term. So what the gym owner, he's one of my mentors now. But what he called me, and I think you're this way too. He's like, you're so charismatic. Like he's like the way people like you is like because you are just the most charismatic person I've ever like. It's like that's how you could talk about anything. People are just gonna listen just because you're so high end. And so I think that's kind of how we win. It's what we're giving out, and I know I'm
Hmm.
like that. Some people call it like a cheerleader or whatever. I'm like I guess I'm kind of a cheerleader. Like I don't mean I wouldn't call myself that, but like but it's
You got
just
the
it
biggest
is a
biceps I've ever seen on
charismatic.
a cheerleader.
Yeah, I hate it. I an old trainer, an older guy. He's like because he's an old trainer. The old trainers now today are a little bit different than like how maybe me and you are. So they're used to like old school training. I'm like, oh, who's this young cat coming in? But anyways, that's how I built the business. Was organically. Facebook was a big help back then, and just I videoed a lot of stuff, and so um, like again now knowing the things we know, it is crazy talking about like dude, marketing wasn't really what I was taught, back then. So,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, that's how I built it. That's how the name started. But at the beginning, nobody knows what your brand name means. You can call it friggin' whatever you want, like Fit Pros, or whatever. Like you can call it whatever you want, but nobody's gonna know until you actually put something behind it,
So you got your first 25 people in there, you finally got your location,
Yeah.
and you basically build it up by just giving value and being the amazing guy that you are. So that's how you
Hmm.
got the first one going.
Yeah.
What made you decide you wanted to make get other locations? How many locations do you have now, or did you end up having?
So I ended up having two. I was gonna have a third one. And then I kind of pivoted actually, and this was before. I think the third one I was gonna get a third one, um, but that's when the COVID stuff happened, which so that I
Mm-hmm.
kind of, and again, a crappy time to start a gym. Like what,
Yeah.
like I wasn't even in my, I think it was my second year or something. So like just so the COVID stuff happened, so the gym thing of like me opening more locations kind of stopped for those however many. I'm sure everybody stopped for like a couple years. So that was a blessing though. That would have been a crazy. That would have sucked. That's a whole. Um, and so yeah, so that's kind of how I knew I wanted to open more locations. Um, but through COVID, made a lot of changes to the gym. I think every gym owner did. We're like, making changes, figuring out how to survive. Once we got out of COVID, I kind of just changed. My mindset was different after that point. Like, I was able to make the gym a lot. Actually, COVID helped me make the gym better, which I've heard that from other gym owners too. Like, you just have when you have time to like put things together a lot better. The process of my gym like was because of COVID got a good many times better because I figured things out during that year long time of like how to run it. But also like again, when I started, I was just doing a regular, like I had big equipment, kind of like your gym, like it was not a corporate gym, but it had more of that heavy equipment type gym, right? Like so
Mm-hmm.
that's how I started, but then it kind of morphed into like group training more. And then I accidentally got into the boutique fitness niche, and I did not know. And then I became like like the Orange Series, the F45s, like these burn. Like I got into a niche. I had no idea I didn't know I was gonna do that. So that's what it kind of turned into. So now with that, the training, the materials, the things that I had, the way I you coach it's a little different. It's just a little bit different than just a regular gym that you have heavy equipment. So that was a change too. That was a big change during that time. But now instead of opening more gyms, I might still open a couple, like maybe one or two, but like that's not where my mindset's at. The niche that I'm in, and this is why I've talked to you about it too. I'm just in a niche of like, I would rather. I think there's more success for not just my brand of gyms, but I think I can help more coaches and trainers who were me, who like kind of me and you back in the day when we started to open their own gyms. And then also, yeah, cool. I could franchise too if they want to open my gym. Cool. Like I will still train them up to a point where like they're gonna have all the processes that they need to run like a really successful gym and like make good money. Because like a lot of these, and that turned out I didn't know, but that was like now it's like I turned into like I can help other people do the same thing. And so that's why I'm like I'm cool with owning like I'll do one or two again. The one we have now is like a really big one, and we just moved. And I could probably do one more, but like my mindset's not. I would rather see other people opening them and then seeing their success, and that's working out too. Because like now we have one in Portland, Oregon, working, and like they're big fitness guys. I'm training them up, and so it's gonna be cool when they open up. That's gonna be really exciting to see. And then I got another place in Texas, like in their so like, and I have all these opportunities of these people. Like literally, I'm talking to like people like me who want to open them. So like that's where my passion's at now. So it just kind of like it's kind of changing a little bit. Like and that's kind of I think that's where I'm gonna see more success is through that. I
Mm-hmm.
still love opening gyms. I'm more on the back end now. Not I'm coaching, but not as much. I would rather see. I want to see coaches and trainers do the same thing I did because there's a need for it, and I'm the mentor now that I can, and you're kind of like that too. We can mentor these guys to get to a niche that's super hard to get into. Like me and you I mean, like again, I'm sure there's some stories like ours, but the way we got in was like it's not easy, man. Like not
Yeah.
like we just like happen to be at the right place, right time, and so. But now with us and like we kind of did a lot of the hard work. Like now I can help a bunch of people kind of get in the doors. And then so that's what I did. So like we opened another location, right? and this was my first helping a coach do it. He had a girl that he was probably gonna marry someday. He was young, he was kind of ready to do his own thing, and so I trained him up. He was like one of my coaches, trained him up, got him ready, and then I helped him find location. Like help, we went out building searching, helped him with equipment, got him set up. He came kind of gave him all the systems, but like, and now he's running a gym, right? Like that's cool. That was like I enjoy doing that stuff. And now saying like, now it's up to him like to grow it and do his thing. But like getting a young cat, and he was young, man. He's like 20, I think he was 23, 24, into their first building, no business background, using our brand as a stepping stone. That's where I think I'm going to be seeing more fun. And I'm still going to franchise, but now I'm just kind of like pivoting. I don't have to own them. I'd rather train other people to own them. And also these gyms, at least our gyms, they do better with, depending on where it is, but they can do better with sometimes having a trainer, or what do you call it, an owner that's on location.
Owner
So
operator kind of thing.
yeah, owner, yeah, yeah. You can get away with doing it like non being there too, but like it is. There's a lot of coaches and trainers who really want to be a part of it, and so like so
Hmm.
I think that's where my niche is a little different, right? And so yeah, I don't know. I might own a couple. I want to get into like own different gyms now. Like I want to own
Hmm.
like an actual 24-hour gym, and then maybe even a boxing gym. Like I'm a big. I want to hire coaches for different industries and
Hmm.
still have professional coaches. So that's where I'm excited. That's where my kind of like I want to open gyms with under the brands, but and I want the brand to represent like really good coaching. That's mostly
Hmm.
what like so I can bring in really good coaches, kind of like a D1 football team, right? Like or
Yeah.
like again whether it's like Oregon, Ohio, whatever the Ohio game recently, like or Duke or whatever. Like you just know, like whether it's basketball or with baseball, like the coaching is prime, and I want to do that for like an everyday level too, right? So that's where my focus is at, in my and my that's my next 5-year plan for us.
That's awesome, man. If so, a
Yeah,
lot of people are watching this are people who want to open gyms or they even want to improve the gyms they have right now. So, what would
yeah.
be a good way for them to reach out to you so they can get help from you?
Yeah. So I'm pretty like again. So I'm pretty easy so far. Um, but social media, they can Instagram is Ace Freed. So if they want to reach me on that, that's a really good platform. You can always like look us up to www.aceforce.com. And that's another one. But really, social media, just drop me a DM. Like I said, I'm really personable. Like I'll respond. I can't if it's like nutrition plans or something. I can't do all that stuff all the time. Like if it's coaching stuff, I can't do that. But hey, if you wanna hook up and talk, where I can really, if you want to open a gym, if you want to like figure out how to grow your brand, whether it's online coaching or you want to at least get your foot in the door, like that's kind of where I can help, with that and walk them through the process. I love helping coaches and trainers who basically want to live their dreams and be in this fitness niche. And luckily now I have a platform to do that. So if that's something you guys want to do, then definitely reach out to me for sure.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have all that stuff linked below. I
Okay.
definitely appreciate you hopping on here and sharing your story with me. This was super awesome. I'll
Yeah.
have you on here in the future so we can go
Cool.
over what new and exciting ventures you have.
Cool.
And until then, we'll see everyone next
Appreciate
time.
it. Later.